Great Debaters Contest is brought to you by Safaricom M-Pesa. The Great Debaters Contest 2016 registration is now open. Teachers or school administrations should register on www.greatdebaterscontest.com/register.
All the way from Nairobi, the place of cool waters, we bring you the Great Debaters Contest, and I am Austin Nyumbok.
I'm Mariam Bishar. We have NPC Buruburu facing off with Karengata on whether saving via non-traditional platforms is more efficient than traditional banks. The first proposer, you have the stage, 3 minutes.
Saving. You tend to wonder, am I right? Obviously, the definition, saving, just keeping something, maybe your valuable, maybe something else for your future use. Now, I'd like to start by saying, I'm sure, okay, I'm not a big fan of DC Comics, but I'm sure you're all aware of the man called Superman. Let me ask you a question. Why is Superman a hero? Is it because he walked to save lives or he flew to save lives? You will save that riddle because it's the answer to this debate. My name is Maxwell Barries from NPC Senior School, here to propose the motion that saving via non-traditional platforms is much efficient than traditional banks. So, non-traditional platforms. It's not a very usual thing you hear, but I tell you, it's something that you will hear in the future because it's something that we're going to continue using. Let me tell you one thing. Non-traditional platforms are organizations where you can actually use banking, but without a brick and mortar, a physical attachment which you cannot see. This is an institution that is actually being taken worldwide. 92% of people who use the non-traditional platforms say that yes, they do have traditional banks, but they actually prefer using non-traditional platforms. Why? First of all, it saves you a lot of time. You don't have to walk to the bank. You don't have to go through a lot of paperwork just so that you can maybe save your money or open your account. Have you ever checked how it's so much easier to open an account through your phone rather than going to the bank and opening your account? Have you ever thought of that? Would you rather actually check your account balance from your bed or actually go to the bank and also pay a fee for checking them? I refute this. Why? Because I believe that time is money. And what kind of time would we be wasting if you don't want to save money? Since time is money, we want to save this money and time. My other is saying that the online banking, these are the non-traditional platforms, they actually give you higher interest. Think about it. How many employees does a bank have? How many employees? Can you even see the employees through your online banking? Now, this is the reason why they will charge you actually less rates than actually online banking, because they don't really have a lot of taxes to pay because they're non-profitable organizations. Now, this is why we should opt for online banking, because it is better than traditional banks. Thank you.
Opposition, you have 3 minutes.
These traditional banks is the mother of all banking services that have enabled these non-traditional platforms to evolve from. Without these non-traditional, the traditional banking is the mother of all these banking services. These non-traditional platforms are just accessories and would not have come to be without the traditional banks. I'm Raya Inina representing Karengata Academy. Traditional banks enable customers to follow up on their savings, as the banks are able to account for the services charged, and this way, the banks cannot eat into your services through ghost services, which are in plenty in these non-traditional platforms. With traditional banking, as a method of saving your money, everyone is able to cultivate the saving virtue from an early age. For example, I'm sure one of us in the audience has had, for example, a Jambo Junior account. These are banking services that are specifically targeted at children. Or, on the other hand, you had that metal tin that you brought from the Juakali Pagai from right across your road so that you can put in your coins. So that later on, you can buy sweets or whatever else that you might have wanted. So, as like my proposers have said, let me save you that time. Cross the floor. In opposing this motion, that saving via non-traditional platforms is more efficient than traditional banks. I disagree.
Rebuttals now. Proposers, you have 3 minutes.
Why have nostalgic thoughts of the past when we can embrace the future? Why cherish yesterday when tomorrow is today? This future is online banking. This future is e-banking. This future is non-traditional platforms. From NPC Academy, my name is Jerome Maitai. Non-traditional platforms, they're new, yeah, but trust me, they're trending. Non-traditional platforms are the new black. Non-traditional platforms will soon replace words like YOLO, LOL. You'll be hearing conversations in the streets. Hey, bro, do you have cash? No, I only use non-traditional platforms. Yes, non-traditional platforms are hip. Non-traditional platforms are fresh. To my other point, non-traditional platforms offer you more options. Rather than being limited by geography, you can search for the best savings rates and options anywhere in this world. Can you find KCB in Buenos Aires? Can you find Equity Bank in Kuala Lumpur? No, you can't. But an internet domain will never change, no matter where you are. Yes, www. blah, blah, blah will never change. And trust me, finding a network service is easier than finding a bank. In the Sahara Desert, for instance, are there any banks in the Sahara Desert? No. But the chances of finding a network in the Sahara Desert are so high. 24/7 banking. Kenya is turning to a 24/7 economy. How can we have a 24/7 economy without 24/7 banking? Is that possible? No. Name one 24/7 bank. One. There is none. But with non-traditional platforms, you can access your money anywhere, anytime, with anyone. You're not limited to anything. To my other point, this is evidence from a traditional bank of a transaction. Do you know how hard it is to keep this safe? You can lose this any moment. It's dropped. I don't know. So I continue walking, only to reach the house and to realize I don't have my receipt. I don't have my overdraft. But can you lose software? Have you heard of something called Google Drive? iCloud. Yeah, that's where you save software, any type of software you have, messages, you receive notifications of any transaction that you make. Do you receive immediate notification when you go to the bank? You actually have to walk there. Let's start with that, walking. How many will opt to walk? How many? Very few. I, in the comfort of my house, can just take out my phone, tablet, PC, and smart TV, and then access anything. That's why I will continue to propose the motion. Saving via non-traditional platforms is more efficient than traditional banks. Thank you.
Opposition, we'll hear your rebuttal. You also have 3 minutes.
Hello to everyone. My name is Sean Michael Lonalo, and I'm here to oppose that saving via non-traditional banking is better than traditional banking. Like my friend said here, that technology moving with what's hip and new is good, but people should also remember that old is gold. That's something that no one should ever forget. And also, like when it comes to like most of us here pay our school fees using checks instead of money. And I'm pretty sure they also use checks instead of money. Why is that? Because checks are much more easier and safer to carry rather than carrying money, because anything can happen. And with checks, no one can really use it if it's under your name. And also, something they forgot to also mention is about using using non-traditional platforms like using phones and all. It can just like, let's say if you're in an area where there's no network and all, it wouldn't be easy for you to transfer money at all. And let's say like, let's say when your phone or let's say your credit card gets stolen, especially your credit card, when it gets stolen or lost, you will have to go back to the same bank where you got your credit card to like renew your credit card, you get a new credit card and all. Like for instance, me personally, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for banks, because when sorry to say and all, when my mom died, she left money in the bank and it was really like hard to access it, and let's say like going using phones and all, we wouldn't know her pins and everything. We had to go, my aunt had to go to the bank and just like talk to them. All they required was my birth certificate and everything that links me to my mom. And now the same money that she saved in the bank is the same money that's now schooling me to this point. And the thing about banks, you can transfer large amounts of money. All you need to do is just like things like M-Pesa, you can't really like send more than 70,000. But banks, you can just like go to the bank. If it's like 5 million, 10 million, you can send it. All you need is your signature and all.
The Great Debaters Contest 2016 registration is now open. Teachers or school administrations should register on www.greatdebaterscontest.com/register. The Great Debaters Contest 2016 registration is now open. Teachers or school administrations should register on www.greatdebaterscontest.com/register.
Question time. The proposers have been asked, they talked about the Sahara Desert not having banks. Do they mean to say that the entire lot of Western African countries do not have banks? And the opposition have been challenged. Why should one go through the trouble of using old means such as a check when they could use simpler means such as pay bill numbers? Proposer number 3, you have 3 minutes to respond.
Haha, I laugh. Because of this new non-traditional platform that you want to have it in our future here in Kenya. My fellow opposers say, and also the person who has a question which has been given that about Sahara Desert not having network. We didn't specify on a country. We specified on a desert. And you are likely to find connection in a desert. But would you like to find bank in a desert? Where will you get food? Or where will you get a building material so as to build a bank in a desert where you know there is sand which will make the building to collapse or to sink? So let's continue. Someone talks about all this gold, but let me tell him, new brooms sweep clean. Statistics show that in Kenya, that Jack and Suri 2011 report results of a 2009 survey of Kenyan households use M-Pesa. They find that M-Pesa reached nearly 40% of the Kenyan adult population after only 2 years of operation. Just imagine, in a short while, 40% of adult people gain access to M-Pesa. They're able to save their money with the assurance that it's safe due to availability of network. And also, Jack and Suri also confirmed that M-Pesa is used by a big percentage of unbanked, and I mean unbanked population. On the basis of a study, 409 small business entrepreneurs in Kenya, Mbogo, in 2010, finds that for micro business, factors responsible for adoption and continued usage of mobile money transfer include convenience, support, cost, satisfaction, and security. While I go to the bank with my smartphone in my pocket, and for a person and I know that I've saved my money in my smartphone, while a person walks to a bank carrying a briefcase, and will you know a person is behind you, wants to target, to kill you, to mug you, so as to steal your money? Will the person know if I have a smartphone, I can hide the smartphone even inside my socks, my shoes, and I reach the bank and I remove it? But for a person who holds a briefcase or something that one can see, can observe, he has more chances of being killed. On to my other point is that more options are given in online banking. You won't find many options given in traditional banking, and also language. There are different types of languages that you'll be able to get in online banking. Not like when you go to the account, to the banks, just to name one, Cooperative Bank, you'll just find English or Kiswahili. So I prefer that the opposite side to join us so that we can move forward towards to better our future in this online banking. Thank you.
Opposition, you have 3 minutes to respond.
Hello guys, I'm Jackson from Karengata Academy. First of all, when we speak of saving via non-traditional banks, we're not speaking of saving time, we're speaking of saving money. And I'd like to ask them, when you have your money all the time, what will prevent you from buying anything you feel like at that instant you see it? You have the money, you'll buy it. When we speak of traditional banks, they are open for only 12 hours a day. So you'll only have access to your money 12 hours a day. That means that if you want to use your money, you'll only use it during the 12 hours of that day. And I'd like to ask you, between the present and the future, which one of them is most important to you? I believe that the present is more important than the future, because what you do now is what brings about the future. I wonder if the non-traditional banks are very good. I wonder why CBK, Central Bank of Kenya, has not yet opened a non-traditional platform. I wonder, okay. Another thing about traditional banks is that they offer a very personal connection with those who are transacting the money. When you are able to walk to the bank, if you have a problem, those people there can walk you through the stages of how you can get back your money. I agree. We are all revolutionaries, but we are now addicts of change. Now, banks, I wonder, non-traditional banks, can you change your currency? Can you change your Kenyan shilling to $1 via M-Pesa? Yeah? No, I wonder whether you will send dollars through M-Pesa. Another thing is that these banks offer different services. You can get loans there, and they offer you services where you can even store your important documents for future use. Okay, they said about the security, about receiving messages after every transactions. Let me say that these gadgets, how often do you renew them? Every year, messages can simply be deleted with just the press of 2 buttons. Is that security? Supposing the non-traditional bank, supposing it crashes, who will you rush to for your money? Utaendea nani? At least the banks, you can go walk to the bank. There's a bank manager. You can go tell him, nipatie pesa zangu. The non-traditional banks is just a software developed a combination of just a number of zero. It's like dealing with an alien, trusting an alien with your own money. Thank you.
Closing statements now. Proposers, you have a minute.
I just like to really correct my opponent on definition of terms, because I don't think you did your research very well. There's no such thing as non-traditional banks. Banks have brick and mortar. We're talking about non-traditional platforms. They really don't have physical entities. So I'd just like to advise on the next debate that you may go to do your research very well. No offense. On my other point, I'd just like to conclude by saying that saving didn't start just yesterday. It started a long time ago, when people used to save their valuables under trees, under their beds, in pots. But you know what happened? We raptured. We went to banks. And you know what's going to happen next? We're going to rapture to online banking, because that's the way things are going. Non-traditional platforms are the way to go. So if you want to be left behind, I am so sorry. But be with us while we go to the future, because non-traditional platforms is the way to go. I'm sure that you'll hear our hosts say something about social media platforms afterwards, because platforms are the way to go. If they can do that with actually media, what can they do with your money? Thank you.
Opposition, you also have a minute.
As I stand here, I want to urge my fellow proposers who are proposing this motion to cross over. First of all, we all understand that non-traditional platforms cannot perform without traditional banks. They all evolved from traditional banks. Thank you.
And NPC Senior School were proposing the motion. I think overall you did a good job. You needed to, because I think you focused more on accessibility. That it's easier to access the non-traditional banks, but not so much that it is likely to then enable you opportunities to save more. So you looked at it in terms of accessibility and the fact that it's convenient, but did not point that out to or direct that towards what that then would mean if you want to save money. So that for me was the missing link. But I think overall you did well. Karengata, again, first timers, and welcome to GDC. Raya, that's the name, sorry. You start off very well and you're saying, look here, non-traditional banks cannot exist without traditional banks, because this is basically the foundation, or as you use the term, the mother, But other than that, I don't know whether you were dealing with stage fright or you had too many ideas, and when you got onto the stage, they all got mixed up. That did not seem to work out very well for you. And then you also did not utilize your time. Sean, you struggle with too many feelers. You say like, like and all. That's the way you speak, But, in a debate like this, you need to use proper English, you need to complete your sentences, and you need to work at reducing those fillers. The two teams did well, considering this is your first time at the GDC, and I'm sure that going forward, we expect to see you better than you did today. All the best to the two schools.
Numbers now. Karengata, the judges gave you 59%. Please give them a hand. NPC Buruburu, the judges gave you 70%, making you the winners of this debate.
Very well. Congratulations to the two teams on stage. We'd like to thank our audience and our viewers back home and urge you to kindly follow us on our social media platforms at Great Debaters EA for Twitter. I have been Austin Nyumbok.
And I am Mariam Bishar. Catch you next time.
The Great Debaters Contest 2016 registration is now open. Teachers or school administrations should register on www.greatdebaterscontest.com/register. The Great Debaters Contest was brought to you by Safaricom M-Pesa.